Hello and a warm welcome back to the channel of Motorbike Nonsense and my new brown Furigun Mistral Evo 3 jacket. But that's not important right now. What is important is the topic of best first big bikes. Over the years, I've variously got into trouble for saying things like the Rocket 3 is the best first big bike, an MT10, a Street Triple. Actually, the Street Triple is one of the best first big bikes. But to put these wrongs right, I've booked in the Honda Hornet 500, though you might know it as the CB500F. It's been rebranded for 2024, been living with it for a few weeks. Here's what I think about it as a first big bike, or just a bike that you might want to run very, very cheaply. Let's go. Right, so how much has actually changed in turning this from the CB500F into the CB500 Hornet, joining its bigger brother, the CB750 Hornet and the upcoming CB1000 Hornet, which I'm quite excited about. Well, the looks have changed. It's got new LED headlights front and tail lights at the back. It costs £6,200, which I think is only a couple of £100 more than the old CB500F. And yeah, it comes in white, it comes in black, it comes in red. Bit of a miss, Honda. It's called the Hornet and you don't sell it in yellow anymore. It's a bit odd, but whatever. It's got lots of attention to detail for an affordable bike. And I think you can tell a lot about a bike by what tyres the manufacturer sticks on it as standard. What kind of rubber are they giving you for your bang? For your buck? No, hang on. It's got Michelin Road 6 on it. They're new tyres. They're really, really good tyres in all weather. They're premium tyres. And that tells you what kind of attention Honda's put into this to make it a good bike, not just for the price point, but all round. Let's have a look at it. It's very brown, isn't it? Is it showing my nipples? Right, let's talk about what hasn't changed. No, not just a bit in the video where I sit down and basically cuddle the engine, but let's do that, because this isn't new. It's still 471cc parallel twin, still got 47 horsepower, 43 Newton meters of torque. It's got a 180-degree crank, so it's nothing special. This is a old school parallel twin that you'll know and love from probably doing your direct access course. It drinks from a 17.1 litre fuel tank, and you can get 80 mpg out of this, so if you ride it carefully, you should be able to crack 300 miles. That's what I meant when I said this is cheap motoring. But yes, it's not the most soulful of engines, but it goes well enough. And as we'll find out when we ride it, you can still get yourself into a bit of trouble on this, which is all fun and games, isn't it? Now, what I would like, though, is a 270-degree crank, like in the CB750 Hornet. That gives that bike much more character, thrumminess, makes it feel a bit more like a V-twin. But hey, you pay your money, you pay your £6,200, you get what you're given, I'm afraid. It's probably very, very reliable though. People have been racing these for years. Some people on the internet have a kink for seeing small things being squished by big things. And you're about to see the motorbike version, because this is a very accessible bike and I'm quite a big bloke. I'm 6'3". This has a 785mm seat height, so that's just under 31 inches. It is, I think anyone could ride this, almost. It's got a really nice approachable seat. It feels narrow, it's easy to get your feet down. I would say that, basically being giraffe man. But yeah, the riding position is very comfortable. It's very upright. The pegs aren't too high, aren't too low. They fall naturally under my hip. So this, I could sit on this all day if I wasn't going to get sunburnt and turn into basically a shaved lobster in the sun. The mirrors are nice and big as well. Now, it's quite a light bike as far as these things go as well. It's 188 kilos wet, ready to go, but it's got some decent components. So the suspension, it's not adjustable really, but it shows big piston forks at the front. They're 41mm, so they're not little teeny weensy excuses for forks that you used to get on affordable bikes. It's got a metal fuel tank as well, which is really good if you're going to go touring. You want to stick a magnetic tank bag on there. The pillion seat is fairly tapered towards the back, so you need a pillion with a V-shaped arse. But yeah, it's quite a small, approachable motorbike, but it still feels substantial enough to give you confidence when you're riding it. And we'll get onto that very quickly once I've shown you the technology. Technology, yeah, it's got some. Now, I wouldn't normally go into great detail about screens on motorbikes, but the new 5-inch TFT on this CB500 Hornet is one of the brightest, best and easiest to read that I've used in recent years. It's optically bonded, so there's no air gap between the screen and the glass, which means there's less glare in sunlight than on most other bikes. And it's really just straightforward to use as well. You've got some backlit switch gear, which you don't get on some bikes that cost £17,000. So well done, Honda there. And it's easy to use, and you can connect your phone to a Honda app to get turn-by-turn navigation on the screen as well. It's got traction control, basically your lot. You haven't got cruise control or anything fancy like that, but you don't get that on the 750 Hornet either. So yeah, quite like it. Now we should probably take it for a ride. All right, it's a nice sunny day. Let's take the CB500 Hornet. Oh, I can always say that. CB500 Hornet out for a ride. The eagle-eyed among you would have noticed it's got a centre stand. I think that's standard. So, yeah, that's helpful for dropping it in gravel laybys when you're trying to film it. But let's go. take it for a little thrum, a little trot. Now, starts on a key, also starts on the button, and it fires into a very, I have to say it again, very direct access idle. So does take me back to learning to ride. Now, one thing you don't get, despite the nice dash and all the rest of it, is you don't get a quick shifter blipper. So you've got to do your own gear shifts, but that is part of the fun of motorbiking, along with vans coming down country lanes. But yeah, you still do clutchless upshifts, and it does just get up to legal UK speeds really briskly enough, to be honest. Now, Honda has given the ECU a bit of a different map for this year, which is said to improve acceleration. And yeah, look, there you go, 50 miles an hour. That's quick enough, and I think if you're using this as a commuter in town, it's going to get away from the traffic lights absolutely just fine. We are going to take it on some twisty country roads. We're going to take it out on some dual carriageway, talk about life at 70 miles an hour on a 500, and I can already tell you, this is just such an easy bike to ride. I think the clutch and the gear shift are the lightest I've ever used. Honestly, it's like you're trying to poke a quail in the eye with a little stick when you change gear. It's so easy and soft, it's just, you barely pull the clutch in, to be honest. It is great, and sorry to all you quail lovers out there, but I had a tortured childhood where I was touched by a small member of the wildfowl community. The handling is just super light and flickable. We'll talk about that a bit more when we get to a twistier road in a minute. It's running a 160 section rear tyre, so that's 2 centimetres less wide than a normal tyre on a big boy Hornet, but decent tyres mean it will grip and give you confidence in all weather conditions. Luckily today we have sun. The switchgear is easy to operate as well. You've got this little 4-way knob down here, and oh my goodness, this is busy, isn't it? It's the bank holiday weekend. These people are doing some very wholesome bicycle camping touring with some hedge trimming thrown in. Right, let's go and do this dual carriageway. I'll see you in a second. Got to try not to go into Greg's that I have to ride past on the way, because that'll make this brown jacket even tighter. Right, Greg's, not going to you. You won't lead me astray this time. Right, we're coming up to our dual carriageway. That's going to be a 70 mile an hour limit, and we'll talk about refinement and wind blast and all that good stuff. But I'm going to keep this little screen up down here showing my average MPG. We're currently at 67.1, and we'll see how that changes throughout the video. Where are you going, Ford Focus? You are absolutely dithering. Now, yeah, fine, let's go around here. Let's go up to 70, full throttle, third gear. It does pull harder towards the 8,500 RPM red line. It's not that strong low down or in the mid-range. It actually needs revving. But anyway, that's 72 miles now. As you can tell from the wind noise, I've got the square root of bugger all wind protection on this bike, but that's absolutely fine. You just get used to it. There's no awkward buffeting or anything like that. It's just on my chest, and I can tuck my knees into the tank as well, so my knees aren't out in the wind. This is pretty much what I would say is an all-day comfortable bike. The only pain I would have is from my knees after a while, because I'm a little bit too small for it. My legs are a bit too long. It's one of those bikes that I think would fit into your life as a commuter very well. Or you might want the what's it called, the one with the screen and slightly taller suspension. I think it's called like the NC500X or something now, if you're gonna ride in the rain and cold a lot. But yeah, I'm happy as Larry here. Down to 66.6 mpg. I'm getting the devil's own MPG. I should point out as well, this does have a fuel gauge on that screen on the left hand side. Lots of bikes that cost more than this don't have fuel gauges, but there you go, you've got trips as well, and you can do all sorts of stuff. Why is it saying 0 miles? That's not my range. And you can connect to your phone, as I've said. But anyway, that's boring to talk about. What isn't is riding it on a country road where it's surprisingly good. There you go, you don't need to watch the next bit of the video if you don't want to. Right, we're about to get to a country road bit. There are a few things that I have just noticed on the bumpy bit of road that I just filmed off camera. The suspension damping on this, I think, is set up for someone a fair bit lighter than my 100 kilo self. It is fair to say. Look at bumps like this. Yeah, it's pretty harsh and does kick me out of the saddle a little bit. But anyway, let's get up to 50 and do some twisties. I guess you kind of expect that from the suspension department, because that's one of the easiest things to cheap out on a bike when you're building a bike down to a price. Now, as you probably guessed from the way I'm not laughing my head off, is this bike is brisk enough. but there's no way it puts the same smile on your face in terms of performance as its bigger brother. The CB500 Hornet has got not quite twice the power of this, but it's a bigger engine. It makes a better noise from its funky crank and all that, and it likes to pop little wheelies and tempt you into clutching it up. This doesn't. This just wants to be potted around on, really. You can rev it out to go quicker, and that's fine. But I just kind of enjoying the sensation of being out on a motorbike that feels grown up in the sunshine, knowing that I've got good tyres on, I can see my speed, I'm relaxed. The brakes are very good. They're radial calipers, which you didn't always get on bikes in this kind of class. They're Nissan items, and look, I'm going to come up to this corner possibly a bit faster than I should, and I'm going to be like, oh crap, I need to slow down. You grab a handful, and actually they're really powerful. It's a good thing that ABS is mandatory these days, because I think if you are starting out, these brakes could possibly be a little bit sharp, but you've got ABS covering your back, and once you've learned to ride a motorbike, you'll want more bite rather than less bite. But yeah, just around these bends, it handles really neutrally. It doesn't really kind of encourage you to change lines mid-corner, but it feels confident on the side of the tyre. Like round here, it's just, yeah, it rolls in nicely. It's confidence inspiring, really. That's the nicest thing I can say about it. It's not like mega fun, razor sharp or flighty, which is something you're probably not looking for if it's your first bike, but yeah. Like the top second gear is 56 miles an hour, and then I've just been clicking straight into 6 to preserve my fuel economy. So I've actually had a lot more fun riding this bike than I thought I would, just because it's taken me back to when I learned to ride. That feeling of being on a 500 for the first time, of feeling the extra weight, but also the extra stability that you get over a 125. Now if you're coming from a 125, I would say get on a 500 or bigger as soon as possible, because although they are heavier and possibly a bit more intimidating, they feel way more planted on the road and corners over bumps and things like that. And this is a really good place to start your riding career. Sorry, GoPro died. As I was saying, a CB500 is a really good place to start your riding career. But yeah, it's a good solid bike that has got a bit more pep in its step than I was anticipating. I think the ECU tweak has made a difference, and it feels great in the corners, mostly thanks to the tyres. It's just the suspension is a bit crashy, and it's not a particularly exciting ride, but so what? You probably knew I was going to say that. But anyway, let's head back to that lay-by and we'll do a proper conclusion where I will give some better thoughts. I'm not sure I can mix black gloves and a brown jacket. What do you think? I feel like that's putting black shoes on with brown trousers. Black and brown, leather in town, or something like that. That sounds racist when it's out of context, but I think I'm talking about gentleman's attire. Right, time for my conclusion, and I will be first to admit I haven't ridden a 500 for about 14 years since I learnt to ride a motorbike. So it's been really eye-opening getting on the CB500 Hornet and realising how good they are, how grown up they feel compared to the ones I used to ride. It feels much lighter, it feels much peppier, the engine just feels gruntier than I remember the last time I rode one of these. But it's also got some more premium components, it's got great brakes, great tyres, pretty decent suspension, and it's all day comfortable as well. And then you can't overlook the fact you're going to get 60, 70, 80 mpg out of this, and it's not like a 125 where you'll struggle to keep up with traffic. This will blast off the lights as good as any other bike. So yeah, I really like it. I like the way it looks. I think it looks modern. My only real niggle is £6,200. Yes, it is affordable, but when you look at it on a finance deal, it's £89 a month at the moment in the UK, with about £1,120 as a deposit. Now, if you put the same deposit down, the 750 Hornet is only a tenner more a month. And I know, yes, it's not A2 compliant out of the box like this is. I think you can restrict it, and that is a more exciting bike than this. I think it will last you a lot longer in terms of having fun, but that's about it really. It's very easy to overlook this and think, oh, it's just an motorbike, but it's very well spec'd, it's well finished. There's a lot to like about it. I've had fun on it, and I kind of wasn't really expecting that. So well done, Honda. You've done the basics brilliantly. I need another B. Brown jacket. There we go. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please hit like, subscribe to my channel. I've got many more bike reviews coming soon, mostly faster stuff than this. I have to admit, this is the least powerful thing I've had on the channel in a long time. But hey, I'm an open-minded modern man. Can't you tell? Oh yeah, go down to the comments, leave me the Japanese word for, that is very brown, Tim. Goodbye. I've also got new Furigan shoes as well. Ugh, can't get them in frame. That's in the can. What am I doing? I'm in the middle of a public road.